Welcome back, guys. Favorite trainer Caffrey from Caffrey Fitness. Today's going to be a little bit of a reaction video to Robert Oberst, who was on the Joe Rogan podcast. And what really caught my attention, and a lot of people's attention, as it was trending on YouTube for quite some time, was when he was talking about deadlifts, saying, unless you're competing to do better at deadlifts as a sport, then you really shouldn't do it. And he also referenced football players when you're getting to the level where you're getting paid. He was saying the risk to reward ratio isn't there, so they'd rather do stuff like power cleans and hang cleans instead. Now, I will say he didn't talk about this issue for that long, so I don't know if we're getting the full context of his thoughts, but personally, I really don't like blanket statements, and I don't believe in bad movements. I think there's bad management of movement, so I know in the past I've talked about exercises, which I think they're better variations. That's a whole different discussion. So when we're looking at deadlifts, if we break it down to just the bare minimum, essentially you're picking something off the ground utilizing a hip hinge. So there's different variations, like you have your conventional, the sumo, your suitcase deadlift, single leg, hex bar. So essentially you're utilizing that hip hinge, creating force, picking something off the ground. And I really do think deadlifts are a foundational and functional movement. If we forget deadlifting from a weightlifting context, we're honestly doing that movement on a daily basis. So in order to so I do think there is a lot of value in developing strength in a movement pattern, which we regularly do. Now, in talking about, I also think context is everything. So where I think we can get value from what Robert Oberst was saying is, would it make sense for, let's say, an in-season professional football player to attempt a 1 rep max on a conventional deadlift? Probably not going to get the most value out of that athlete doing that. Maybe in their off season, can they make strength gains from a smart program? I think so. The other interesting thing is I was talking to a friend who's a fascial stretch therapist about this issue, and he brought up an interesting point to me, saying how a lot of athletes, depending on the sport that he sees, are often quad dominant, so he recommends doing a smart deadlift program on their off season to kind of balance this. And then I also want to move on to the risk of injury. So any sport you play, any movement you do, any exercise like deadlifts, squats, cleans, there's always going to be a risk of injury. But when it comes to deadlifts, I think some of the major factors are load management. So are we doing too much? Are we pushing our RPEs? Are we always trying to max out? And your form. So if we don't look at those two factors correctly, then obviously it's going to increase your risk of injury. But if we have proper load management and proper form when deadlifting, it's a very effective exercise for building overall strength and building your posterior chain. And there's a lot of benefits that can translate over to sport and just overall health in general. So thanks for watching. Actually, before I end off, I do want to say one more thing, because Robert Oberst was also talking about how they do hang cleans and power cleans. Those are also very technical movements, which often coaches have to spend a lot of time teaching athletes. So it's not even like those alternatives are stuff you can just pick up, walk in the gym and do right away. So as I was saying before, like every movement does have risk of injury. It's how you manage that and how you know your actual form when you're doing the exercise. So thanks for watching, guys. This was just kind of my input on the matter. I have a ton of respect for Robert Oberst. I don't mean to throw any shade. He is a very established strongman competitor. I just really wanted to cover that aspect because I feel a lot of people are going to watch that video and just assume, oh my goodness, like I got to throw deadlifts out of my plan, like it must be bad for you, because I really don't think that's true, and there are a ton of benefits in doing that exercise. Thanks for watching, guys. If there's anything you want me to cover, let me know. If you want to add to the discussion, let me know in the comments. For more workout videos, training tips, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Get some Caffrey Fitness swag. I'll post the links in the description. You can get it off my website. I will catch you next time.